Okay, let's get into it. For today's Deep Dive, we are unpacking the world of high-end audio-video infrastructure.
Specifically, the real engine room of these complex systems.
Exactly, modular matrix switchers. And our source material is centered on this one component, the WolfPack 4K30 HDMI Input Card.
And this isn't just any component. It's part of a massive ecosystem, for these 9 by 9 up to 36 by 36 chassis from a provider with a 25-year history. So we're looking at proven tech.
Proven tech that handles UHD resolutions, 4K by 2K at 30 Hz. The documentation also mentions 4.2.0 chroma subsampling. Why is that specific detail important here?
Well, it's all about finding a balance. 4.2.0 is really efficient. It gives you that ultra HD quality, but it manages the bandwidth, which is just critical when you're pushing signals to dozens of displays at once.
I see.
But I think the most immediate feature that installers will notice is the separate 3.5 millimeter audio output right there on the card.
That audio flexibility. Okay, let's unpack that. Why would you want to pull an audio signal out separately like that?
Because it simplifies everything. That little stereo output is engineered to take an incoming signal, say a compressed Dolby digital feed, and it converts it right there on the card to standard stereo.
Ah, so you don't need an external decoder taking up space in the rack.
You got it. Fewer failure points, cleaner installation.
Let's talk about speed, because that's always critical. We're seeing specs like 10.2 Gbps bandwidth and a switching speed of 200 nanoseconds max. What does 200 nanoseconds actually prevent for the user?
It prevents that awful visual flicker, that blank screen you sometimes see when someone switches sources on a big video wall.
So it's about a seamless experience.
Near instantaneous.
Okay.
And that speed is directly tied to the biggest system benefit here, which is reliability through modularity.
This feels like the real aha moment. Explain why that one-port slide-in card design is such a game changer for maintenance.
Well, think about it. If you lose the signal on, say, input number 8, you replace the single card for port 8.
You're not pulling the whole expensive matrix out of the rack.
Not at all. You don't have to send the entire chassis for repair.
Yeah.
System downtime is slashed, and so are the costs. It's a huge deal.
Okay, but with this kind of specialized gear, there have to be rules. The docs note a pretty major compatibility warning.
Yes, and this is crucial. To maintain that performance, these 4K30 cards have to live in a 4K30-based system. You absolutely cannot mix and match them with older 1080p cards, not STI, not VGA, not TVI, in the same chassis.
It's a dedicated 4K ecosystem.
Exactly. It's built for consistency.
So moving on to control, which is the heart of any pro install, we see the usual suspects: front panel buttons, a web GUI, apps. But where's the real integration power?
It's the RS-232 port. In the professional AV world, RS-232 is still sort of the gold standard for reliable wired control. The entire system is built to integrate with major third-party controllers.
Like Crestron, Control4.
All of them. AMX, Savant. And they provide a simple script that lets installers write custom drivers really quickly.
And that script is incredibly direct. The example for switching input 8 to, say, outputs 1, 8, and 16 is just by 1, 8, and 16. That speaks volumes about how easy it is to create drivers.
It does. And that commitment to reliability goes even further into their quality assurance. Every unit goes through this 6-step testing process.
And one detail really stood out to me.
The 24-hour aging.
Yeah, that's significant.
It is. Every card is burned in for a full day in an aging room before it even gets to final QC. That's how they ensure long-term stability out in the field.
And the warranty seems to reflect that confidence. It's a 2-year advance replace warranty. If a board fails, they'll ship a replacement within 24 hours in the US.
Which is exactly what you need for these mission-critical installs. So when you put it all together, this deep dive shows a system built on speed, this smart modular reliability, and really deep third-party integration.
So here's the final thought. The documentation implies that by buying this hardware directly and then just hiring an integrator for the software side, an end user could save, and I'm quoting, thousands of dollars, which leaves you with a really interesting question to think about. In these complex tech installations, how often is the decision of who buys the hardware the real key to unlocking major cost savings?